everybody. I'm just going to do it because you know what? It's Home Bars Live, baby. And it's a Tuesday. So, as we rolling into, this is the first episode of December. So this is 9 months, something like that, I think, kind of, sort of, one of those things. But, it's, and as we will season, it doesn't cease to amaze me how much fun the show has been over the course of this year and how I've been able to really get a chance to get to know a lot of really cool people and just hang out. And today is no difference, and we're going to keep that trend going. So I'm going to first grab my glass, say cheers to all of you out there in TV land, and welcome my guest, Nohelani Ader, to the show. And she's checking in with us from Albuquerque, New Mexico, which this is going to be our first journey into a place where there's a lot of sand. There's more sand on the beach than there is in the streets.
Oh,
hello,
am I here?
Hello. Yeah, there you are. Hello.
Hi. Sorry, I am currently just chilling in my room. Have my nephew over, so don't mind me.
So that's the beauty of Home Bars Live, is because you're at home. So we've all had to adjust kind of our setup and kind of how we've done things. But for one, thank you for coming on the show. And two, so let's do a little introduction. Tell everyone out there all the amazingness of who you are and where you're from.
Well, hi everyone. My name's Nohelani. I currently live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I recently moved here at the end of May, kind of during the middle of the pandemic, just because where there's no tourists, there's no money. So I moved back home to Albuquerque, and right now I'm just kind of working at a distillery. It's been going off and on, so it's been a weird little journey, right, for everybody.
So we were talking the other day, and you were saying that New Mexico is back in another shutdown, and we just actually hit another one here. So what is it? What's the scene like out there? What's taking place?
So currently, right now, we are on this. It's 3 levels. It's the green level, yellow, and red level. So currently, we are in the red, obviously. So currently, we are at 25% outdoor capacity for a restaurant, and not really bars per se. You have to have food unless you're a brewer or a distiller. So we chose not to open just because we are a smaller establishment. So for us, 25% outdoor is literally 2 tables, and it's just not worth it for us.
Word.
But currently we're doing really good in the back. So the productions are kicking ass. We don't have to worry about a lot, which is nice. So I won't lose my job. I'm just not bartending currently, or we don't have a bar program. But for the most part, that's what's happening. Nothing crazy. We're trying.
Word. So how long have you been in the business? How long have you been slanging those cocktails, those libations, I should say?
8 years, probably a little bit more. I'm not too sure. I definitely started to craft within the last 2 to 3, I want to say, years. So I'm still pretty fresh. I'm still learning a lot, which is really great. A lot of great people in this community, man. It's been a wild ride so far, but a lot of great people I've met the last 3 years has just been rad.
So, okay, let's talk. So in the last 3 years, what are some of maybe 3 highlights that you could think of maybe just places that you've been and kind of experiences that you've had?
I kind of want to talk more about the inspiration. So, and when I moved to Hawaii, I was strictly a sports bartender, and I knew speed, but I don't know craft. I didn't know that there was such thing as a 4-touch drink. I've never even heard of that terminology. I was like, what the hell is a 4 to 5-touch drink? So someone told me that I need to apply for the USBG. I need to go to classes. I need to learn. Well, you're really good, but you should expand your knowledge. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I ended up joining the USBG Hawaii, which was awesome. The community is just amazing. At first, I was really timid because New Mexico, we're kind of closed off here. And then Hawaii, they're like, oh, everyone's family, everyone's friends here. And I wasn't used to that. So I kind of felt intimidated because they're brilliant and they're all really close. So I felt like an outcast. So I would sign up for all these classes, but I would never show up. And that was probably the worst thing I can do, apparently. So the president was like, hey, if you do another session of not showing up, but signing up, I'm going to put you on blast on the internet. I was like, what? Did he really just test me like that? So that was really funny. His name was Daniel Bruce. Shout out to him. And, I was like, no, I'm not going to let this fool embarrass me. This is not my day. So I started showing up, whatever. I actually started learning, and then I became familiar with the community. And then I just was learning as much as I can. I was writing down everything in the notebook. So kind of pushing onto like the next topic. So Daniel Bruce, he's the one who kind of brought me out of my shell, which is awesome. During the USBG sessions, I would just take a shitload of notes. And then there's this guy, his name is Ben Flores. He's a beverage director at this place called the Highbrow. It's pretty nice spot, pretty nice. And I just remember he was like, hey, I really like your notebook and I like the way you take notes. So I was like, thanks. I want to say a few months later down the road, he asked me to do a guest shift at his bar, pretty much just kind of running my own little bar program, which was really fun. So it was more of a learning experience. So shout out to Ben Flores for sure. But if it wasn't for that, then I probably wouldn't have been noticed as fast as I wanted it to be. But Ben Flores is the one who kind of brought me out on the floor and kind of showed everyone else that you can literally be almost a no one and be this talented. So it was awesome. It was a good little start of my craft career, I guess.
Oh yeah. So what are you sipping on right now? What are you currently taking a sip on? I saw you had a little glass there.
So I just have like an M&M shot sipper. Do you know what that is?
I do not. Please fill me in.
No, it's totally fine. It is mezcal and Montenegro. So it's,
and I should know that because I have M's
you should know that. Come on, man, M&M.
I haven't been behind a bar in months, and I'm not fancy anymore. I just sell the booze now and like educate people. So I've lost my touch.
That's fine. You know what? I'll accept it.
But speaking of education, you were taking the whiskey certification thing through Lush Life, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Totally am.
So how's that going?
Such a great experience. It was great. I've learned so much. I actually have a class that I'm probably going to miss here in like the next 45 minutes, but it's okay. But I've learned so much from just like 3 to 4 weeks of this whiskey class, and we're literally just doing tours and some classes. So like Woodford, Jack Daniels, and Old Forester, they all did a class after a tour, and that was really fun. I learned a lot from every single distillery and a lot from Jack Daniels, honestly, since I kind of always overlooked Jack Daniels. It's really still not my favorite, but I learned a lot from them, why they're so different, why they choose to be different. I'm like, okay, I see your point. I'm still not going to drink it, but I hear you. But Moonshine University, they're the ones who pretty much teaching us the American whiskey certification class. Super formidable, and super freaking nerdy. I like it. People get super into it, and I love to hear the questions. Like I personally am like, I would never thought to ask a certain question, but someone's all deep into their nerd life, and they're like, yeah, man, that's a great question. I'm gonna write this down.
So I wanted to ask, because Zoom has become such a big part, I think, of our daily lives now, and kind of how we communicate, and either it's FaceTime, Zoom, or some kind of chat like arena like that. I feel like people are asking better questions through Zoom than they would in person. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I feel as though like because you're not in the same room, right? So you can like ask that question and kind of like step it back in the background, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, like everyone knows this. The internet makes you confident, man.
Yeah, I guess even Zoom confidence.
It's totally fine. No, I'm pretty sure these people, they would be asking a million questions in person too. That's just how these people are, right? They're brilliant minds. And plus, when there's alcohol, there's no such thing as a filter. Just waiting.
So I'm gonna be the newbie with not having any tattoos, and you clearly have more than one. Do you remember your first tattoo?
Oh man, we have to talk about this. You literally, oh yeah, this is gonna be random. So my first tattoo was actually on my boob. I had so all of this was actually a cover up, but I guess like kind of right in this area, I had brass knuckles. Um, I got it in high school in a rundown fucking apartment, and that was sketchy. AKA, don't let your kids do that. Just if they want a tattoo at 18, just take them to somewhere real, because I did some sketchy things for some tattoos. I'm like, yeah, man, I'll sell you this really crappy swag for a really shitty tattoo. It works out that way. So yeah, I had brass knuckles on my tip because I used to love instigating fights in my younger years. I liked being a little shithead, I guess. And then the older I realized that I bruise too easily, so please don't touch me. That's how I am now. Go figure, right?
Fair enough.
It was bad. Why don't you have any tattoos?
The one time I was gonna go get a tattoo was in New Orleans. Was gonna go get one. Posted on the internet like an idiot, and proceeded to get phone calls from my family telling me not to mark up my body and all this other stuff, and basically guilt tripped me into not going. So until this day, I still don't have a tattoo. But you have more than one? Which one was the most painful? Or do they hurt? Because some people tell me they don't hurt. Some people say they hurt. Some people say, you're getting stabbed with a needle. What do you think?
Yeah, they hurt like shit. Personally, well, I'm a big baby, and at least I openly admit that. But they just all hurt in their own little way. But I definitely have like a top. Let's just put a top 3 for now. So my number 1 spot is definitely on my butt. That was pretty trash. That's pretty bad. Number 2, I definitely want to say like the inside and the back of the knee was pretty bad. Yeah. And then, I mean, obviously like the butt, underneath the butt area was I'm just going to say that little general area is pretty crap. Yeah. I don't ever want to do that. I definitely want to say the next one was my sternum. So right down the middle over here. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, all 3 of those places are also places that if you got hit, it would hurt. You don't even need a needle. Like if someone hits you in the back of the knee, you go down. You get kicked in the butt, you might fall over. You get hit in the sternum, it's hard to breathe. So I can imagine the needle going in there definitely hurts too.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's holiday season, and we're not going to be able to be in the same kind of realm that we were before. We're just out and about and huggy and pop-ups and hanging out and drinking and stuff. But what are some holiday traditions that you're either looking forward to, or some of the ones that you might be missing this year?
Honestly, it's kind of the same here for us, at least. I don't really know. I mean, I guess what I really liked about this Christmas was not having to really go out and about shopping. But then again, I feel like an asshole because my carbon footprint is just trash because I'm just buying shit off Amazon. So I guess it's a pro and con this year, really. But what are we to do around this time of year, right?
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's all right. It hasn't really changed Christmas-wise, family gathering. We see the same few people every now and then. So I don't have a lot of family out here in New Mexico.
Where, so is most of your family in Hawaii, or is it just kind of spread over, or kind of?
It's pretty split. So my mom was born and raised in Korea, so her family is in Korea. My dad was born and raised in Hawaii, so his family is in Hawaii. My dad was the only one to join the military and retire in New Mexico, and that's where we kind of just landed. So we're the only ones out here. But I have 2 sets of family. So I have a dad and a stepmom, and a mom and a stepdad. 2 brothers and a bunch of kids, nieces and nephews, chilling.
Word.
Yeah. So it's just us.
Well, I mean, I think also at the same time too, there's nothing wrong with that. Bad holidays are sometimes good holidays because we've all been in the holidays to where there's so many people around and you're just like, yo, I just want to eat some turkey and go to take a nap. I don't want to sit here and watch Christmas movies. But speaking of Christmas movies, do you have any favorites that you're looking forward to seeing, like The Grinch, Christmas Story, any?
I was like, I really enjoy watching like The Nightmare Before Christmas or something more like The Corpse Bride.
Yeah.
Winter. I like that weird shit. Horror movies all the time.
Weird shit is good shit though. I mean, nothing wrong with weird.
Nothing wrong with weird, right? No, yeah. I like The Grinch.
The Grinch is a good one. It's a classic. So cocktails, I know that you're also doing a little bit of like a cocktail to go kind of a service thing. You want to talk about that a little bit? The cocktail side of it. Yeah. Or better yet, let me take that off the table. I'm gonna ask you a better question.
I was like, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, just entrepreneurship and kind of like stepping into that realm during these times because of a forced kind of hand. Whereas, maybe if all things were considered equal, we'd all still be behind the bar doing our thing. But we've had to shift.
Mm-hmm. Hey, if the hustle's in you, you gotta hustle, right? So, I mean, I would like to make it legit, but New Mexico won't let it be legit. So, kind of have to gotta hustle a little bit, but gotta please the crowd, man. People know what they want, and it's definitely not candy and teddy bears anymore.
Word. But do you find? I guess the question is have you found it easy to be able to kind of transition into like going into business for yourself? Because commonly as bartenders, we're working for someone else and, we're doing that versus like, taking that step and doing something for yourself. Has that been like an easy transition or how's that going for you?
Yeah, it was super easy. I think I used to, oh God, dude, I sound like such a degenerate when you ask these questions right now. And it's like, wow. I'm like really looking like, damn, dude, was I fuck up? No, I was also a little bit of weed in school, you know what I mean? So business is business. Don't matter if you're selling Cheetos in middle school. It's just kind of like I said, the hustle will always be in you if you've been doing it for a while. Yeah. But I majored in business, so that's fine. So I gotta learn about it. And I've always been around business. My dad runs a nonprofit organization that's thriving very well. So I've just kind of always been around it, and nothing is going to be given to you. And especially when a pandemic hits, you better be doing something because this unemployment, man, a lot of people haven't gotten their unemployment, and that's sad as shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think no one can judge anyone for, how they get it, because in this day and age, we've all been dealt hands and we ways to win, and I think one of the cool things is just talking to people about the ways that they're finding ways to win during a very trying time, because it sucks. We went from having a normal go from absolutely normal to like we may never see that again, or what it used to be. But to also too to stick with the holiday theme. And the last one I'm gonna ask you on this: the worst gift that you've ever received on Christmas, or what's the shittiest Christmas gift you got that when you looked at it, you just was like, really, you got me this?
I think I don't really know about like receiving an actual gift. That just sucks. But there was one time my dad was like, hey, your stepmom and I were going to go out of town, but you can take the truck for you want. You can do whatever you want with it for a Christmas gift. I was like, a Christmas gift? So you're leaving me on Christmas with your truck? So I was like, bet. So I drove to Colorado with a friend, but everything was closed and it was freezing as shit in Colorado. So I want to say that was probably the worst Christmas gift. Thanks, Dad, for letting me use your truck on Christmas.
Yeah, that sucks. Way to give me the car and I go get hypothermia on my own because I chose to. Arr.
I think we ate some really shitty Chinese food, but it's fine. Merry Christmas, right? But that's fine. I'm not a negative Nancy. I got to go to Colorado. That was cool.
Word. So what are your favorite foods? What are some of the things that what are the top 3 things, like if you could eat for the rest of your life and you could pick, what would they be? Or a couple,
like
maybe not 3.
Foods or
actual food. You could make it up.
Food.
You could it could be like a super whatever it could be a double deluxe. I don't know.
A double deluxe is real, my man. That's fine. I would totally stick with probably, this is going to sound so weird, but kimchi tofu soup with some rice. I would do sushi, and then the other one would probably be probably like Kalbi ribs, like all Korean shit. Yeah.
So I'm not someone that eats sushi. So do you like when you go to like town?
Sushi.
Yeah. But when you go and visit places, do you like go and like look for like sushi joints and stuff like that? Or there's some of your favorites that you've been to? Like, what's your favorite like roll? Is it like the Tootsie Roll, or like the dragon roll, or whatever them things is?
The Tootsie Roll, you said.
Yeah.
I definitely get a couple of Tootsie Rolls. No, I mean, like, whatever they have, there's a lot of places they have their own little signature thing, like here in New Mexico. I don't know if anyone knows, but we're very known for our green chili. You know what I mean? So green chili is extremely popular. Put it on everything. Hawaii, they put lihimui on everything. And it's not pineapple, actually. So we don't put pineapple on fucking everything in Hawaii. But for the most part, I don't just go around and be like, oh, I need to try everyone's avocado roll, everyone's dragon roll. Everyone's really different. They put some where they have like these cute little antennas and little eyeballs and shit. They get all decorated. It's really cute.
Word.
Totally for it.
Sushi art, something I'm also not familiar with. But something I am familiar with is alcohol. So when you're at home and you're chilling, what are some of the things that you like to drink? What are some of your go-tos? What are some of your, if you're reaching under the counter, you're pulling out and you're drinking?
Well, my go-to is definitely Fortaleza Reposado. That's my go-to. That's my babe. If they have it, I'll drink it. I'll sip it. I'll shoot it. Whatever. I don't care. I prefer, honestly, most spirits neat. Probably with the cube or whatever, but usually I'll just kind of keep it clean. I don't get hangovers that way. So, but I'm more of an agave spirit kind of person. That's just what I fallen in love with. But now that I'm learning about whiskey, I still don't know a lot about not flavored whiskey, but flavor components that I'm looking for in whiskey, just because I haven't drank it that often yet. So far, I've really enjoyed the Four Roses single barrel, small batch.
Yeah.
One of those ones. I really like it, but I'm learning to adapt my palate and kind of change my mind on a lot of things. Like, I've never really liked vodka, but I work at a vodka distillery. So I was like, oh God, dude, I'm going to hate our spirit, but I actually really like it. It's really smooth. And I was like, wow, that is a surprise. And also gin. We make gin, but we have more of like a Southwest kick off of a gin, excuse me. So it's a lot, not really sweet, but it's a lot sweeter than what I'm used to for gin. So I've learned to love it. The last few months working at my distillery, I've learned to really appreciate vodka and gin in its own little way. But definitely, if I'm gonna stick to it, tequila is my shit.
Word. So working in a distillery and getting a chance to kind of get behind the scenes and see how things are made, how's that been for you?
It's been really cool. Our head distiller is super chill. He's like this really rad snowboarder, but he's not a stoner at all, but the way he acts is really derpy sometimes. So the way he explains it to me is really cool. and it's more entertaining than anything. But it's been really cool to see how it works, especially our gin. We use a really tiny pot, like a copper pot still. So it's really cool to see it up close and personal instead of something really big and enormous. I'm like, wow. So this is what it looks like. Having to rebuild, to adapt, to learn to change the scene around when we're running out of room and everything. So we have a really tiny distillery, but we've partnered up with a pretty large company. So having to push out that much product in such a tiny distillery has been amazing to watch and be a part of, honestly.
Awesome. So have you had a chance to work any of the stills? Have you had a chance to like making juice, or do you have any interest in any of that?
No, I would probably flood everything. I'm good. But I like watching. I'm straight. I like asking questions and kind of like watching, but I don't think I'll ever really sit there and do it myself.
Okay, fair enough. So
But
so you're doing the bourbon and the whiskey stuff. So are you leaning towards more bourbon, rye? Like what are you finding yourself kind of leaning towards as far as like what you're enjoying?
so I definitely know that my palate still leans toward kind of the sweeter, smooth side. So bourbon has definitely been something I really like. I've gotten really used to Japanese whiskey. It's actually extremely similar to bourbon, just probably a little bit lighter. Um, so I definitely lean more toward the bourbon side compared to rye. Still a little spicy for me.
Right. So what are some of your, I mean, you've probably had a couple of Japanese whiskeys, as you said. You've experienced that. What are some of your favorites, if you don't mind sharing with everyone out there?
Oh, wait, sorry, what'd you say?
Some of your favorite Japanese whiskeys.
My favorite. I'm gonna be very honest. I don't know a lot of names because I worked at this whiskey bar, but they would just kind of like pass it to me in the middle of the shift. They're like, "It's this bottle, but we're busy as shit." I'm like, "All right." I sip it. I'm like, "Wow, I like it," and I will just drink it. So names I don't know honestly, but I've learned that whatever the hell they have, I enjoyed it. Just to be very honest.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's kind of the point of when we go out and we enjoy ourselves anyway. You know, we want to go have something that's good. Sometimes you don't really care what it is as long as it tastes good.
Yeah, totally all for it. But here in New Mexico, they don't really sell anything Japanese, so I haven't even seen one yet personally.
All right. So what's the market like out there? So is it big agave, a big agave market, you know, low like Japanese whiskey, like high gin, like what's kind of the scene out there?
I've definitely noticed there's a lot more vodka and gin out here. It's really hard to find good tequila, good agave spirits, at least the ones that I'm looking for. Or if I hear about a specialty bottle that only 12 cases were allocated here in New Mexico, then I will do some research to see if I can find it. And it's only been like, oh, there's only 2 cases that are sent to Albuquerque. So I'm like, wow, having to look around for some good spirits is a little tough. But then again, I'm still getting used to that vodka and gin. So having to try some new stuff hasn't been the top of my list, to be honest.
Word, word. So as we are getting kind of close to closing out a very crazy year, that has just been absolutely nuts. What are some of the things that you're hopeful for coming into the new year and you'd like to see change if possible?
Oh man, that was such a lovely question. Um, I hope that people kind of learn a little bit more unity. I think more on a deeper level with friends and family. I think now that people were stripped away of that freedom, being able to see your friends and family in other spots, or if they have serious conditions, like don't take that time for granted. When you just have like an hour, spend that time to talk to someone, to see someone. So I hope that people learn to honestly just be nicer to other people. I think that's something that's been bothering the hell out of me when I moved back here to New Mexico. A lot of people are actually they're mean as hell, and I hate to sound like a little prissy, but in Hawaii everyone's so nice, and I got really accustomed to that type of culture. So I hope people learn that it's a great time to be alive, pandemic or what. Like it's a good time to be alive. Like technology, everything. I know that the government is kind of a joke, but you know what I mean? Friends, family, the things that we learn every day, everything that's being invented. It's like, dude, this is a great time to be alive. For the last time I said that, like, a lot more positivity, more creativity I want to see from other people. Don't be afraid to try something new, to learn something new. I feel like that's extremely important. So that's what I hope for the new year.
Sure. I mean, you make a good point, because this is not the first time the world has gone through a pandemic, but this is the first time they had like the internet, and they had other things and other ways for people to actually stay in contact and still, you know, have some kind of resemblance of a life. Not saying that this is a good time. I mean, I wish things we weren't dealing with this. But if it's your concert, right? You got Sony's asking you to throw a giant relief concert for the pandemic being over. I need to know who's your opener, your mid, and your closer. Now,
oh my God.
mind you, these people could be living or dead, because we can do holograms or whatever. So whoever you want, opener, mid, and closer.
Oh, fuck. Oh man. My opener. You put me on the most stressful question. Why would you do this?
Because it's a pandemic relief party, okay? We need pressure situations.
I get freaking out. Okay. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh. All right. My opener. I feel like a good opener would be, this is gonna sound so corny, Drake. I feel like a lot of his old shit more of a turn up. Okay, that's what I'm feeling. Okay. This is what my mezcal is telling me. Okay, I feel like a good start would be Drake. The middle, you know, I feel like are we turning up or are we vibing in the middle?
I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, it's
maybe I'm too in tune with my emotions. Like, sometimes people just need to, like, you know, I feel just let it out, get a little emotional. Okay, so start with Drake. I think the middle would be Russ. And then I would definitely like to somehow end it with Michael Jackson. That's what I'm in the mood for.
Word. I think Mike would definitely would be a great way to end a pandemic party. That is for sure.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Yeah. That'd be a good vibe.
So before we get out of here, have you been reading any books or anything like that? That's any notes or any TV shows to kind of pass along to all of us out here looking for things to do?
I just recently bought a book called Spirited, and it was made in 2020. A fucking dope book. It reminds me of like an encyclopedia, like the way the book is set up. I'm like a crackhead for nice books. So Spirited, definitely look that up. Awesome book. What else? Oh, another book some people should read is Bartender as a Business. That should help a lot of people with wanting to pursue obviously more of a career side than just bartending. So something a little bit beyond bartending, or what you can do as, like you said, entrepreneurship. So that is a really cool book. Also, the Flavor Bible. Get the Flavor Bible. It is so great. Made for chefs, but bartenders are chefs.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. So first and foremost, I wanted to say thanks. You know, this has been, you know, a great chat, and I appreciate you helping me start the month off. This is the 9th month of the show, and somehow somehow it's still going. So before we get out of here, you dropped book notes, you dropped some knowledge. Is there any last words you got for any of the people out there in the digital world that they need to know before they close their eyes today? That's a good statement.
Weed. Smoke more weed. Be happy. And if you don't smoke weed, you should try some weed.
And like, you know, I mean, you know, I'm going to just plead the fifth on that and say that, you know, everyone's entitled to their opinions, and I agree with you. So, without
Thank
further
you.
ado, yeah, we're going to be wrapping up this episode of Home Bars Live. And again, thank you so much for coming on. This has been such an amazing journey, and I'm glad you've been a part of this with me. And as we roll into this holiday season, we're kind of in it, but you know, I think of December as like, you know, the holiday month. You know, I mean, you got my birthday, and then Christmas, and then my birthday, and then
Wow.
New Year's. And yeah, anyway, yeah,
When is your birthday, my guy? When is your birthday?
anyway. So, for all of you out there watching and all of you there listening, thanks for joining us. But again, we'll be back. Same time, same channel, same place on a Tuesday, y'all. This has been Home Bars Live. Month 9, baby. We still here. Bye-bye. And do like the snake and then start doing